By the time you're watching this, 7.22 stable is already out, but 7.21 introduced some interesting and important changes that I have to cover before I talk about 7.22, so let's just get over this. The biggest thing that happened in 7.21 was the introduction of the app section in RouterOS. This is bundled up with the container package, and if you open it up, you'll find a catalog of popular solutions that you would typically deploy using containers. But the difference here is that you are relieved from many little tedious things that you would have to deal with in order to make those solutions work. To use this feature, you need to adjust a couple of settings. Besides enabling container functionality in device mode, just click Setup for the main ones. First, you need to use your own disk. Then you should select which bridge is your main LAN bridge, where devices should have access to your apps. And finally, the router IP will typically be the LAN bridge IP. Now, if we open the settings for one of the apps, you will find that besides the typical container settings, we are adding some new ones. For example, the network drop-down list lets you select where this app should be used. Basically, you can choose one of your existing bridges or internal to use a separate bridge meant for apps. And the LAN option just points to the bridge we just selected in the general app setup. Then there are a couple actions to help you manage your app. Cleanup is like deeper remove option. Besides deleting the app, it tries to do additional things like undo any RouterOS configuration that was changed by this app. The update feature will pull the latest version of the container images used and completely replace the older images. To avoid data loss, apps that store your important information will always have required mounts that you cannot disable, and the update feature will not touch those storage locations. Overall, a very cool feature. Usually you can simply hit enable and the images get downloaded and started for you. We will do some more videos covering apps in detail with working examples. Besides the app functionality, the container package has seen multiple other improvements. For one, support for video capture devices has been added, so you could pass them through to containers, and initial support for Bluetooth devices in containers has also been added. Then if you look at container settings, you will see that you can now monitor how much of the CPU is being used up by your container. You can change the stop timeout and the stop signal. You can change the SHM size, which is a Linux shared RAM storage location inside a container, and then you can add host names that should be listed in the host file of the container. Then there are a couple new commands that are currently CLI only. The kill command lets you manually send a specific kill signal to the container. The run command lets you run the container in interactive mode, so you no longer have to use little tricks to keep some of them alive for shell access. And then of course there is also an update command just like with apps. Okay, enough about containers. IPv6 saw several improvements, but the main thing that happened, router advertisements can now be received independently of your neighbor discovery settings. Notice you could disable neighbor discovery or change the interfaces it will be running on, and then still decide that you will be accepting router advertisements on all interfaces, for example. On top of that, if you are using IPv6 or IPv4 neighbor discovery, they will now announce any IP changes to the network as soon as you apply them. Now, in the world of security, there are a bunch of improvements or additions to our arsenal. IPsec now supports post-quantum pre-shared keys with quantum key distribution. When you dig into this, things get pretty crazy. This feature goes beyond traditional post-quantum cryptography and lets you take advantage of what is called quantum cryptography, where you rely on quantum principles for secure communication. This requires a new type of equipment that can establish quantum links or quantum channels, and it is not going to happen on your premises anytime soon. So what QKD allows you to do is to talk to servers that do have access to this new alien technology and then have them help you perform the initial security association in a quantum secure manner. Then the actual IPsec tunnel runs over traditional media. Talking to servers requires certificates, so we have some improvements in that area as well. First of all, there is this new trust store parameter that lets you select what this certificate is meant for, so that you don't accidentally use your Capsman certificate for IPsec, for example. SSH now supports logging in with the ED25519SK keys. They are designed for two-factor authentication with FIDO devices such as YubiKey. It is now possible to disable individual web services separately, so you don't have to enable everything at the same time. User Manager now supports RadSec, and then MakSec is finally getting hardware offloading on some devices. Currently available only on RB5009, HAP-AX3, and Chateau AX. Then there were some improvements with the SFP type connections. A new type of cable now gets recognized, and some impossible settings have been hidden from manual speed selection. But when it comes to regular Ethernet connections, the speed settings now have a new type of warning. If you disable auto negotiation and manually set the interface speed, you will get a scary red message. But don't worry, this does not indicate of any hardware fault. Ethernet standards state that auto negotiation is mandatory for all Ethernet links that are 1G or above. Manually forced link speeds can work, but there can be differences in how it gets implemented on hardware level, so you should avoid it. If you want to prevent certain link speeds from being established, simply modify the advertised properties of auto negotiation and hit apply. Couple final mentions. DataPath now has a new setting that lets you forward traffic to the CAPSman and process it there. Various RouterOS tools like Bandwidth Test and Ping can now resolve domain names, and the DNS server can now work with a specific VRF. Alright, that's about it for this changelog. Now I will get to the 7.22 version straight away, so stay tuned for another changelog video.